All right, guys, I've got quarterback rankings for you guys. I haven't done a quarterback rankings video in a while. Well, really, I haven't done any videos in a while because I haven't been uploading much, but I think it's time to put out my quarterback rankings. I want you guys to know where I stand with these players and why I have them ranked where they do. So I'm going to be giving you guys my top 12 quarterback rankings for the 2024 season, all right? So I'm going to start right here with the first player on my list, and that's Patrick Mahomes. I see a massive bounce back for Patrick Mahomes this year. I mean, he actually has a lot more weapons than he did last year with the addition of Marquise Brown, with the addition of Xavier Worthy. We don't know what's going to happen with Rashee Rice, but if he's in the lineup as well, we have three stud wide receivers in the same lineup. Patrick Mahomes has the potential to have by far and away the most loaded offense that he's ever played with this year. And if that all comes together and Travis Kelce has any tread left on the tires, he's going to absolutely explode. I love Patrick Mahomes for a huge bounce back. I think this offense is going to make a point to operate differently this year with the two speedy wide receivers on the outside of Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy. Last year, the wide receiver one was Rashee Rice. He was catching a lot of passes around the line of scrimmage and running after the catch. But this year, I expect these wide receivers to stretch the field more. This is going to open up targets for Travis Kelce over the middle of the field where we know he dominates. I love this team to bounce back. I love Patrick Mahomes to bounce back. He is my number one quarterback for 2024, and he's going at an awesome value right now because sometimes he's slipping around 5. It's mind-blowing the value. You've got to grab this dude. Next player on my list is going to be Josh Allen. Now, this is a guy who just lost his best weapon in Stephon Diggs, and we know that the minute that Stephon Diggs went over to Buffalo, that's when Josh Allen really started to explode. So slight room for concern there. That being said, I think the Keon Coleman pick was a good draft pick. I think that he could be the wide receiver one in the offense, but the main pass catcher, I think, and a lot of us would agree with this, is going to be Dalton Kincaid. I think that Dalton Kincaid is going to help fuel the offense. Even in games where Diggs was really not producing last year, Josh Allen was still putting up really good fantasy numbers. So that just goes to show that even if he's not feeding Stephon Diggs, even if it's the other pass catchers in the offense getting production, Josh Allen could still be the best quarterback in all of fantasy. So considering the fact that Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game and he has better weapons this year, I have to have Mahomes ahead of him. But Josh Allen obviously has the ridiculous rushing upside, the rocket arm, everything. He is fantasy greatness. He was meant to be a great fantasy quarterback, and he's at my number 2. Next player on my list is going to be Jaylen Herz. Now, this is a guy who is on the team who just paid A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown just got the bag. So I don't know. I really like where this team is headed. We know that Saquon Barkley is an elite pass-catching back as well. So while rushing quarterbacks don't check the ball down as much, I think he's going to at least check the ball down a little bit to Saquon because Saquon is an elite pass-catching back. This should help his passing numbers. I think that Jalen Hurts' rushing efficiency is going to be through the roof. It's always been through the roof, but now that we have an actual elite threat in the backfield, it's going to be harder for teams to just key in on Jalen Hurts and try to stop him from running the ball, which they haven't been able to do in the first place, but now they have to worry about Saquon. Jalen Hurts is going to run wild in the rushing game. He's going to get a lot of rushing touchdowns like he normally does, and he's going to freaking explode. He could be the quarterback 1. I have him at number 3 on my list behind the 2 other studs in Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. Next player on my list is going to be Joe Burrow. I see a huge bounce back for Joe Burrow. Obviously, we want everyone to be on the field. We want, Jamar Chase to start the season healthy, T. Higgins to start the season healthy. We want T. Higgins to be happy with his contract. There's a few question marks. Obviously, Joe Burrow was really banged up last year, but I think we're going to have everybody on the field to start the season. And if so, I think the Bengals offense is going to explode. They would have been elite last year if Joe Burrow wasn't playing banged up. We know this is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. Look for a huge bounce back for Joe Burrow. Next player on my list is going to be Kyler Murray. This is a guy who has elite rushing upside. He's been no worse than the quarterback 6 in all of his healthy seasons. The only time he had a bad fantasy finish was when he was hurt for half the year. And last year, he was actually pretty decent when he came back, and that's with just having Trey McBride as a target. Now they add Marvin Harrison Jr. Look out. This offense is going to outperform expectations. Look for Kyler Murray to bounce back. We know he has great deep ball passing abilities, elite rushing upside, everything like that. So look for Kyler Murray to bounce back. Next player on my list is going to be Lamar Jackson. Now, this is a little bit lower than other people are going to have Lamar Jackson. I am slightly concerned about the weapons. The best receiver in the offense is Zay Flowers. He is a good wide receiver, but is he a truly elite wide receiver 1? I'm not so sure yet. Mark Andrews is getting a little bit older. I almost like Isaiah Likely to be the breakout sleeper player in the offense. I think that he's going to emerge this season. So, yes, Lamar has some weapons. Yes, Lamar has elite rushing upside, but he is getting a little bit older. He's a little bit thinner than the top, rushing quarterbacks in the league, and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. He is like the top rushing quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's not, but the fact of the matter is, can we trust him to stay healthy and on the field? This dude has a lot of injury history. I'm just a little bit more concerned about injury when it comes to Lamar Jackson, and that's probably the reason I have him a little bit lower. Next player on my list is going to be C.J. Stroud, and it feels criminal having this guy this low, considering the fact that he absolutely exploded in his rookie season. He was ridiculous. I mean, seriously, one of the best offensive performances ever from a rookie quarterback. And now we add Stephon Diggs to the quarterback room. This dude could be the quarterback one. I mean, it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility. I don't like having him so low on this list. It's just that everyone above him, besides Mahomes and Kyler, well, really like everyone above him has better rushing upside than him. And I think that's why I have him as low as I do, because he doesn't have any rushing upside really at all. With that being said, so many passing weapons, elite passer, elite offense. Everyone's probably going to start the season healthy in his wide receiver room. I love C.J. Stroud to explode. I wish I could have him higher, but these guys above him just have a lot of upside. Next player on my list is going to be Jordan Love. Talk about a stacked offense. I mean, we've literally potentially got a four-headed monster at wide receiver with Dobbs, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, and Jaden Reed. I mean, this has the potential to be the best wide receiver room in the entire NFL if everyone lives up to their potential. I love Jordan Love's upside because of this, and we know that Jordan Love does have some rushing upside as well. So not only is he going to be an elite offense, not only does he have an endless amount of passing weapons, he has rushing upside, and it's probably going to get you rushing touchdowns as well. I love Jordan Love. Next part of my list is going to be Anthony Richardson. I'm not as high on Anthony Richardson as everybody else is. I know that the Colts offense is supposed to be pretty good. I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to get more goal line work than people expect. We don't necessarily know that Anthony Richardson is going to get all those rushing touchdowns with inside the 5 or 10 yard line. Jonathan Taylor is probably going to get a lot of those. I'm not sure about the overall upside of this offense in comparison to the quarterbacks I have ahead of him. I do think the offense is going to be pretty good. I do think that Anthony Richardson is going to be a solid to good fantasy quarterback, but I pretty much have a massive tier break after Jordan Love. And I think that Anthony Richardson is just kind of in the second tier of quarterbacks after these top 8 guys, or really the third tier, because, Mahomes, Allen, and Hertz are kind of in their own tier. And then there's another tier break, and then really a third tier break, in my opinion, when you get to Anthony Richardson. I don't think he's going to be as good as everyone else thinks he is, but he's certainly good enough to be in my top 12. Next player on my list is going to be Jaden Daniels. I love the upside for Jaden Daniels this year. He has a ton of weapons with, Jahan Dotson. Ben Sinnott was a great draft pick. Terry McLaurin. They're talking about adding Brandon Ayuk. If they do add Brandon Ayuk, his upside goes through the roof, and he's going to be a top 5 quarterback for me. I'm just telling y'all right now. But right now, he's my number 10. I love the upside. I think that he can have a very good rookie season. Next player on my list is going to be Dak Prescott. I don't think that Dak Prescott's going to be as good as he was last year. The rushing upside is certainly declining. They have a tougher schedule this year. CeeDee Lamb's not happy with this contract. I don't really think the Cowboys are trying to win. I follow the team very closely. I'm a Cowboys fan. And I don't think that Jerry Jones is that invested in winning. I think that this team is going to underperform this year. I really do. They have a tough schedule. I don't think that the aerial assault is going to be as lethal as it was last year, but he is good enough to be in my top 12. Next and final player on my list is going to be Jared Goff. Now, this is a guy who is playing on a top 3 projected offense in the NFL. Now, considering the fact that he doesn't have rushing upside at all, I normally wouldn't have him in my top 12, but he is in a top 3 overall projected offense. The Lions offense is supposed to be right up there with the Cowboys and the 49ers. So I think this offense is really going to explode this season. And as a result, Jared Goff is just going to get dragged along with his elite offense that he's in, and he's going to put up massive numbers. All right, guys, those are my top 12 quarterbacks in order. Let me know what y'all think. Post in the comments your top 12. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.